Okay, what's that? Did it record? Okay, it is recording. Okay.
Great.
Wait, how do I go back to this slide though?
You know what? We are using different cards for this one because look what I have.
Fashion cards. Okay. So my final project is the history of fashion and like the fashion of women throughout time. So my first time period is 1950. So during this time period, most women wore clothing that would snatch more of their waist and give them more of that skinny hourglass look. They would also wear stuff that would have their shoulders wide and out, so their collarbone showing, such as con dresses, long dresses of any kind, tiny heels, and big hats and gloves were the popular style for accessories. When wearing jacket, it was also a longer trench coat with a belt around the waist. Like I said earlier, it snatched their waist. Pockets in the skirts were just starting to play a role and becoming popular. Women would wear a bathing suit top as their undergarments to lift up their chest and have their shoulders more wide. Women's suits were starting to appear, but they were skirts instead of dress pants. And night dresses were different than workday dresses. They were made of different material, but also a different style. So my next time period is 1960. In this period, Mrs. Kennedy, the first lady, was kind of like an icon and showed off her style as seen as like inspiration to many like young women and teens. The styles were popularized as mini skirts, bikinis, and showing a lot more skin during this time period. This was a way to show more like of the sexual aspect in things. They were mini skirts. Like I said, a small bonnet or blown out travel hair was the look for the updo. Tights played a role in some of the women under their dresses and skirts. Big buttons were more of a fashion statement on coats during this time, as the first lady again was the icon. Tent dresses were shown more during this time, so like not just the slim dresses, but the bigger dresses. Casual dinner and going out dresses paired with a small sandal or heel, like the 1950s. And wool and hemlines above the knees were a popular thing during this time. And many women like to wear the big scarves and the big hat, as you can see in those photos. So my next time period is 1970. In this period, it was more of like the neutral, unsexed look. So like many women and men were kind of on the same page of matching and having the same type of looks. Many skirts could have played a part in this time as well, but men did not want the thought of them disappearing, as they thought women should only wear skirts. Many designers wanted to do a different length of skirt though. This is the time era that hippies started to play a role, as the famous Woodstock Music Festival kind of made people express their new look within the new clothing. So this was a time period for tie-dye, crochet, wide-legged jeans with like the big belt buckles, matching sets with boots, made an appearance. Small tops like the bikini or tube tops were very popular with the high-waisted bottoms and many accessories. So this is the time period of like the vintage look for us, I would call. Started to like play a part with like the bright colors and the big prints making a statement. And like the brand Ralph Lauren kind of showed up during this time period as well. So my next time period is 1980. In this time period, volume was like the big thing during this time. So it also didn't just show in clothing, but it showed in like their hair and their accessories. So shoulder pads in the tops, I bet you all have seen like a shirt that had shoulder pads. This is the time period that it kind of started to play a role. Big oversized coats, like as jean jackets, as you can see, those young girls started wearing, give it more volume. But the hair, they started to gain more volume as people would start to tease their hair or make, their side part over with their bangs, as you can see kind of with that girl. Through the how do I move this so I can read this?
Yeah, it's gonna drag down.
I don't know if I'm doing it.
No, you're probably doing it right.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Where was I at? Okay, so like I said, so more denim played like a role in this time period as girls would wear like the jeans and the denim jackets over things. Leg warmers and like the headbands were starting to play a role, or like gloves or the hats or the leotards as like more of like the boombox type of air, I would say. So this is the type of like this time period was more of like the drama, the glamorous, to show off the feelings of the big outfits and the crazy patterns and the colors to give it more of a going out look, I would say. And then I had 1990 as my other time period, and this time period was more for like the biker chick, but then the glamorous girls and then the baby dolls. So it's kind of like all over the place, I would say. It's the chaotic year. So high hems and like party pantyhose were showing more of an appearance during this time under like dresses and their skirts. These were paired with more like the pointed heels during this time, and like open backs with like unique designs as like bows and pearls. Lace and diamonds were also just starting to show off during these times on the dresses. From formal nights, sheer and silk showed up, as you can see in this one photo with girls. In some cases, like minimalism is like mostly key, but then like also in this picture, it's like you wanted the bright colors, like 1980s with the patterns of like checkered and stuff. And then you can see that like the hair was starting to go a little bit shorter and give it the flowy look. And then my last time period is the 2000s. So during this time, like this was kind of like, it's called the chaotic year. So women would start wearing the low-waisted bell, or you're good. Women would start wearing like the low-waisted jeans, the low-waisted sweatpants, the track suits, but they would also always pair it with like a bag that matched every outfit. And this was a time period that most women kind of wanted to show off their body and show off their makeup look. So it was more of like the dramatic makeup, the dramatic hair, the dramatic accessories with the scarves, you know, the colorful tank tops, the jewelry, the sunglasses. So like Louis Vuitton and Marc Jacobs started to come during this time period and show more of that city look within their products. So my class involvement is, if you could go back in time to wear their clothing, what one would it be? Anybody want to give an answer?
You have to go back in time, or you have to swear.
Well, if you could, yeah, maybe not back in time, but if you could go to a
I
time.
love the 50s, but the 50s were a literal response to women getting more autonomy than 40s.
If you could wear the clothing during that time.
Working, and that's cute. But come back home. Like,
Or what is your favorite time period to learn about? Or
yeah,
okay. And then how this relates back to family consumer science. So like in the book, it talked a little bit about fashion and like sewing throughout the book, but Clarissa Scott kind of stood out to me while she made clothing during the war for people. And then also FCS classes, like I bet we've all taken a fashion class or a sewing class, or someday we'll teach it. So it kind of relates back to FCS. And then this is my works cited.
really cool. Yay, so.
Oh yeah.
Um. So. Yeah, I was just even thinking like this could be a total like intro, and then you could use it as a project in class, and you can assign each of your students like a decade.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I've shared with people that my background is textile, Little Carol major, and I actually, yeah, not everything in this room. The textbook's lets out, but like if it's not a textbook book, it's probably something weak. But I don't know, I think it's cool. I think it's really important. I think if you look at clothing and furniture through the context of what is happening in society each time, it like really helps you understand why the choices were made. So very cool. All right. Emilie, Tyler. Okay, who has cards in this? You guys have some.
That's not alone.
Need them. Next year, I want to like to have everyone take their cards in advance and prepare them. Yeah. Who wants to TA with me? I know it, Riley. Guys, so, yeah, cool. Please stop.